Chaos Rain presents Can Female Therapists Heal Men? With special guest Topaz. Broadcast September the 12th, 2022. Enjoy.
All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
In the world with its crime, corruption, violence, murder, rape, theft, and all forms of atrocities that plague the world in which we live in today. What you're witnessing, we are living in a state of chaos, and it took a greater or extremer chaos to restore the order in which the world we live in today. Good evening, people, all people in the Western Hemisphere and beyond. This is Chaos Rain here. Today is a very important subject matter. Something that I had to go reach out to my nice little book of tricks to have this conversation. But before I give you the title to today's stream, I would like everybody to go to the Talk World Solutions website where you see all the list of black banks located near you in the city near you, and also the latest news articles that you'll find on the Talk World Solutions website. Also, it's always good to start your own black-owned business if you can, or a nice little side hustle. You know how over this side of the Chaos Rain side to side streams on this platform that entrepreneurship is the key to any freedom and also the keys of really establishing yourself and being something more than just an employee. So, like I said, all information is on the website. So check out Talk World Solutions today. Talk World Solutions is also on Facebook. Go to Talk World Solutions on Facebook page as well. Like the page, join the page. You also get invited to the private chat room on TRS on Facebook. So like the page on Facebook. Also, you could watch this and many of the Chaos Range streams on TRS as well on YouTube. Same name, same symbol, the line. And always subscribe to the Chaos Rain channel. We're almost at that magic number. We still need maybe 100 or so left. So please make your way to the Chaos Rain channel, subscribe to the channel, hit the top notification bell for uploads and live streams on the Chaos Rain channel as well. And you can follow me on Twitter at ChaosRain7. Add me on Facebook, Eric Rain on Facebook. And join the Discord servers of the Chaos Rain YouTube and podcast side of things. That information is on the About section on the Chaos Rain channel on YouTube. So all the links are on there. That's it. So before we open up and get to the conversation or the meat of things, one second. As I'm trying to find the video. Sounds okay. All right. And I'm checking on my side of things, see how the volume is. All right, we're all set. We're ready to go. Today's subject is titled Chaos Rain Presents Can Females Therapists Heal Men? With special guests, the one and only, the Nubian Grand Empress, the Queen, that Black Queen, that tall, lengthy Black Queen from the down south, the nice, where everything is big in Texas, the one and only Topaz, the return of Topaz. So Topaz, press star 6. Let me see here. Oh, no, I got you. So I present to you the return of the one and only Topaz. Okay, I'll be in line. What's good, Topaz?
Okay, Chaos, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, loud and clear.
Okay, now I can't believe you in this intro, but okay.
You know you love
Anyway.
it. You know you love it.
No.
Yes.
No, see,
Yeah.
no. I'd like to forget that I'm tall. Thank you very much. Sometimes I like to do other things, but it's cool. I see where you're going with this.
Well, listen, you stand amongst a lot of average height women and let them try you. Say, try it. As they try to throw their little slap, you put their hand in their head and they can't, reach because they don't got the length, So I said, come on, that's not fair. I know.
See, yeah, like, so first of all, I just go around, provoking people and then making them not be able to do nothing about it. Like, that would be mean, okay, Chaos? And I am a tender, innocent lamb, all right?
Yes, I know.
So just put that out there.
And it's funny thing because you're not originally from Texas, right? You're not originally
Yeah,
from
no,
there.
born and raised in Texas.
Wow, you came. I'm sure you came from the same area as Meg Thee Stallion, because she is roughly almost the same height as you, roughly. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, so Meg Thee Stallion was raised in like one of the suburbs to Houston, but yeah. So
I thought she'd come from rough beginnings.
I don't know how rough her beginnings were. I mean, first of all, I don't really know a whole lot about these celebrities. I don't know how people get all their life story. But I don't know if she had really rough beginnings. There's a lot of affluent places here in Houston. We have a lot of suburbs. We have a lot of nice areas.
I see. Okay, well, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. But anyway, so now, this subject, before we go into the details of the subject, as you're aware, Topaz, it looks like the Kardashians are back circling on some more alleged gossip when some new information has revealed, looks like the mother was orchestrated of the whole thing from the beginning to make
Well,
the emperor.
as far as I knew, that was always the story. I thought, like, people were saying that already. So I didn't know why this made new news because I thought that was the original story.
It was new to me because the sex tape I thought was always orchestrated by Ray J, but it looks like now Ray J has to open his goddamn mouth now because it looks like they're trying to say that they're trying to allege that he engaged in some form of sodomy or Kim K.
Yeah, so, and that's what I'm saying is that, like, everybody who, when I first heard about it, everybody who told me what went on said that it was her mother that put it out and therefore she didn't know about it. But recently he's been saying that the mother was in on it, that him and Kim agreed to it, but the mother is the one that had, like, the vision on how to turn this into income. So she was in on it, and so she apparently went to some show, took a lie detector test, and said that it was true that she wasn't involved. So he went on a rant on social media saying he got the text messages and that he gave a laptop back to Kanye because they had taken 3 different types of tapes, and that the mother is the one that said, oh, well, this one looks better, so let's put this one out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Kanye West has been late to the party, and they're also using him to the point where, yes, Kanye, I'm gonna tell a person as a brother to brother that their mother, Kris Kardashian, she is gonna pimp your oldest child, and the other 2 girls, and mind you, it's only 2 biological kids Kim got. People forgot, I think the other one was a surrogate, the boy. But the one that she had out of her womb was what's her name? Hope. Is it Hope? I think her name. I forgot her name. The oldest.
Yeah, no, the only ones I know about was North. I thought was the oldest, and then Saint.
Yeah, North. That's one. North. Yep. North. Yep.
Okay. So there's the only 2 that I know. I didn't know that they had more kids. See, that's how out of the loop I am with all of this.
Well, I've been here. They have 4. It's 4 of them. Maybe 5.
Oh.
I know that the one she had biologically is hers. The other one she couldn't conceive, so they had to go for a surrogate. From what I'm hearing. The boy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. See if she had him in her 20s, she'd have been good. But she waited till she was roughly 32 to have her first kid. So it tells you.
She wasn't done in the streets, Chaos. She had a little bit more, spreading around to do. So she wasn't ready to settle down. But that's the point.
She was
a lot
married.
of people praise that family, but that's what they do.
Well, a lot of people won't say that Kim did it right. She at least got married before she had the kids. And I said, all right,
the oldest one, the oldest one, she wasn't married, I don't think. It was with Kanye, yes, but she wasn't married.
It was. I think they were married before they had that baby.
No, not the first one. The first one, she was pregnant, and then they got married afterwards.
Well, regardless, she eventually got the ring anyway. She was waiting to get married again anyway. So they said she got married, like, this is her 3rd marriage or 4th marriage.
Yeah. So she married, like, there was some regular guy. I think he was just rich. Then there was the basketball player that lasted 72 days, I think, and then there was Kanye. I may be wrong.
Don't forget they had Reggie Bush. I know Reggie Bush got married too.
Yeah, but they were only engaged. They didn't actually get married.
Okay, makes sense.
But here's the thing, though, Chaos. So, like, I think that people have a lower view of what's so-called doing it right. I don't think that there's any praise to be had when you got married, but this wasn't to a person that you can envision a future with. You're getting married for the status, and you're essentially hurting someone emotionally to marry them, and you're not actually in love with them. It's still not the beautiful picture. So, I mean, anybody, like, there are lots of people that could just run down to a courthouse and get married so that they can have a title. I praise the people that actually do it with the right attitude, the right spirit behind it. So, like, I think that people give people credit, and then that's how we got these people who just marry anybody, and then it's a toxic relationship, but nobody's supposed to say anything because they brought kids into a wedded, situation. But if the 2 people are toxic together, or they have an inkling that they were not going to work out, you still brought a child into a broken home. The child doesn't care. whether y'all was married first and then it was a divorced family instead of one that never got married. There are plenty of families where the people stay together and there isn't a record of a marriage. So for me, I think the better issue in terms of child rearing is what's the relationship like between the two parents. Because everything else is for status and bragging rights. And the kid can't feel that. The kid can't internalize that as being born to a union of love just because you get to brag to other people, well, at least I was married. At least, at minimum. That is the bare minimum.
Well, my view is this. If you don't get married now, eventually you're hoping down the line that there's going to be some form of union that's going to solidify legally by paper. I'm not really too proponent now way how the climate is in the West, because we live in America, and marriage right now, regardless of the status and the percentage, or where, if you want to do numbers, where marriage is heading, where it's going, is I see it moving forward that it's going to be more roughly going to be in the middle, 50% range moving forward in America, all across the board. I just don't see it any higher at this stage, because if people are partnering up now and try to make a life, it's going to be somewhere. Two of them are going to make some deal, make this thing work. And if they do make it work, I only see it really lasting if it's done maybe right over 10 years now. And sometimes we're not even getting 10 years now as we look at the so-called data of marriage. The average right now in America is roughly under 10, like 8 years, maybe 7. And every year it fluctuates.
Well, see, but now here's my viewpoint on that, is that it could last longer if people take their time and they choose the right person. If everybody's just trying to rush to the altar to prove something to somebody else, that means you weren't paying attention. You didn't take the time to pick somebody that you could actually build a family with. All you essentially did is became like a bad memory, a bad period of days for somebody's life.
I mean, that too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we could look at it that way. But overall, like I said, if people, do it, if you notice, there always some type of special counseling that always go through. A middleman has to go through to make sure is this the right direction? Are you sure? You get me? I'm not sure if they still offer that to people that are engaged nowadays.
Well, they offer it. Okay, so marriage counseling isn't to question whether or not you're sure you want to marry this person. It's for somebody that you do know that you want to build a family with, and to make sure that y'all understand what it's going to take, that y'all are capable, and that you have a foundation of what to expect. So it's not going to make sure that you're, in sound mind to have a marriage, but what it does do is take away the surprises. So then that way you know what marriage is for and how to make it work. So it's kind of more like training instead of like an assessment. And they do offer it. You can get it from most people get it from their church because it's already there, but you can go into a LMFT office and just get it's premarital counseling is what it's called. Marital counseling is when you're married and you guys are having like difficulties in the marriage.
Okay. All right. That's fine. All right, that's fine. Okay, well, like I said, Kim K, regardless of the direction is, and I would agree with Ray J to this point, but how I look at it, bro, it's like most of these dudes now that has not been paying attention to this family that's run by the mother because the father died, that Chris, and I think she does have a background in marketing, that she knows what...
She was her husband's manager.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So it makes perfect sense why she's so much in the front of the direction of the two daughters she have that is making the most money. Why she's kind of, but you see that's the beauty of when you have more children. See, if you do it right, out of the children you have, one of them is going to fail, but one of them is going to succeed. We're not going to get like when you produce 1 or 2 or 3 children that you're going to expect all 3 of them are going to get it right and be all good. We would love to have it in a perfect world, but some are going to life and how they move in the direction of their own lives is going to move different. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're very involved. You know?
Okay, chaos. I hear you, but it's not a numbers game though. It's not like if you have three, there's a good chance. Now that can be true if you do absolutely no parenting, right? If you just do the bare minimum of parenting, then yeah, it's a numbers game, and you play the odds because the odds are 1 out of like 5 kids that you may have is just gonna trip and fall backwards into success. But there is a way to increase your numbers, and that's active parenting, paying attention to what your child is good at, helping them to be able to use that whatever that strength is to their advantage. So you can, there is a way to have 3 kids and all of them are doing something successful. And what I judge by successful is they are good at whatever it is that they're choosing to make their income and their way to give back to society. They're well-rounded, they're adjusted as adults, and they have a life that they can be content in. They have some semblance of expected adult independence.
So do you think that a lot of parents, the normal or the average parent are they really active and really involved and really drawing the best potential of their own children, boys and girls, from your understanding?
Most parents are mediocre to average. And the reason for that is because there isn't, the way our society is set up right now, there isn't a whole lot of time for staying home and having, a lot of supervision over your own children, right? That's just the way we ended up setting up the society as it stands today. So a lot of parents are kind of parenting when they get time instead of actively parenting and making that a priority.
And this has to be on both sides, right? I mean, the father has to be even more active, regardless if he's working more and all that stuff. Has to be very active as well.
Yes, and so let me just say this, because kids want a relationship with their dad. They know you're working. They appreciate that you're providing for them, but that doesn't take away the desire and the need for you to have an active role in your child's life. So there are things that we get from our fathers. We don't get the mothers can nurture, they can make sure the kids are safe and fed and all of that, but some things you have to learn from your dad. So the boy in a family learns from his dad what to be when he grows up, and the girl learns what to look for, what she can partner with, and by interacting with her father, she learns what her role would be when she grows up and she's in marriage and she is an adult. So they do still need face time with the fathers. It's not enough that you just provide. There are lots of kids that when they grow up, they end up telling their dad, I wish I could have had more time with you. I would have given up some of the luxuries just to be able to spend more time with you.
Makes sense. All right. I mean, I like this, Topaz. And for all that's listening today, I'll give y'all the calling number. Let me see. The call number for today's stream is 717-908-1834, access code 917324#. You know the deal. Today's stream is titled, and I mean titled in a good way, is... I had it up here.
Can a female therapist... Oh.
Can a female therapist heal men? Now, the subject at hand, the meat of things. How you view therapy now? Because you've been in this field for a generation now. Good long time. And I'm
You know what, Chaos? You're not gonna play me with my age. Okay. I have been in the field for a while.
Topaz, man.
Don't do me, Chaos.
Come on, listen. And I'm keeping it real because listen, how people to understand. I want people to understand. Listen to me well. People take other people, men and women that's in the field of clinical psychotherapy or psychology or whatever, and they know you put in over 10 years, they say, this person not only has done the time, but, I give context so people understand it's not somebody that's new to the thing. This person is well seasoned. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what, I'm ready to put, before I put my meat into the pan, or we call it the nice grill, I had to season it well. I got to put my right utensils. I got to put the susa, the pepper.
Okay. Well, you know what, Chaos? Okay, so I'll give you that one, Chaos. Okay, I didn't know because you do be cracking jokes on people sometimes. So like don't act like this.
listen, Topaz.
So okay,
A,
so now I
age
see
is
where you go with it.
okay. All right, yeah. But like I said, yeah. But like I said, damn, I messed the question.
see, look
Yeah,
at you.
yeah. But like I said, in regards to your views on it now in the profession now, um, as a woman, have you known or come across that the field of therapy has it really brought in a better light towards, let's say, the black people, especially African American males, or just black men in general, in regards to healing
Yeah,
out?
I do think that, okay, so first of all, I just want to point out that in society right now, we have a lot less of the taboo and the stigmas behind mental illness. Is it still relevant? Is it still happening? Yes, but it's lessened a lot. The field has also gotten more refined, so there's new techniques, new research, new data that we can use to help and reach more people. So as it stands today, I would say yes, therapy has been a good thing. I have seen positive outcomes and improved quality of life, increased independence, reaching their recovery goals. I have seen a lot more of that for black people, black women, and black men. Also, black children.
Now, when you say black children, I'm not sure we come across. Have you dealt with children in regards the needs of them, in regards to any things they have gone under or need evaluation psychologically? I'm not sure how deep your profession is, so I had to ask that question.
Yes. So my expertise is with adolescents and young adults. Now, I have had clients of all ages. I have treated clients of all ages, but that's kind of like the expertise level that I have. So I have worked with a lot of children, and at times I've been on contracts with CPS as well as with I've had to submit documents for court. So yes, I also, another part of my expertise is trauma. So trauma and crises. So I get a lot of clients that are being removed from their home. I get a lot of clients that are being discharged from inpatient care, the psychiatric inpatient care. So yeah, I do have a lot of experience in that area.
Now, in regards to the trauma, what is the most common trauma that young boys, girls go under if needed therapy? Like, let's say if they were dealing with you as a client or they were referred to you on the average.
Okay. So in my profession, I've seen a lot of, the most thing I've seen is neglect. Now, what is that? What's the average? What's the most common overall? I don't have the statistics directly in front of me because it changes as we get more data points. But for my particular practice, it's been more neglect than actual physical or sexual or emotional abuse. A lot of people hurt people by their inactivity, not necessarily something they're actively doing towards their children.
So more likely that they're not getting someone that from the family, especially mother, father, they're not involved enough, and they feel there's some neglect that the child needs, that they had to come, let's say, to you or anybody else. That sometimes depending on how you have the consultation with these, because with children, it's very much touchy, it's a very serious thing, because sometimes children always hide things they don't want to reveal, and because you have to build a relationship. I think I'm not sure if it's different between children and adults in regards to building a relationship of confidence so that you're able to reach to them. Is there really a difference between the age gap?
Yeah, there are different techniques that you would use. So for younger children, you want to get them engaged and they learn by play. If they're not interested, they're not going to implement the skills that you teach them. For adolescents, they want to be heard. They want to be taken seriously. They're getting a lot of people telling them that what they're going through is so minor, so minimal. Even though that's true in the grand scheme of life, for them, it's a big deal right there. So we work a lot with understanding the importance of certain boundaries, setting and enforcing those boundaries, and self-care. So, being responsible for your own emotional well-being. And then with adults, it has mainly to do with, at least for my practice, it's been adults that will come in that want to change their decision making. They are sometimes trying to unlearn things that they learned in the past that was helpful but is not helpful anymore. Sometimes there's some regret. There is recently, since COVID, there's been an uptick in anxiety as well as anger and depression.
Oh wow, anxiety. Oh, okay. And I think that requires some medication because nowadays some of them that trying to skip the sit down counsel. And I remember there was one movie. I forgot the movie. It was something that was with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson. And you might
Analyze this.
is that what they call it? Is
I
that really
think
the one?
so. I
And
know that there is a movie called Analyze This where I think the guy has to go to anger management.
I think it might be that. It might be something else, but what I remember the backstory is Leonardo DiCaprio, especially how he goes see his therapist and he said, "I don't want to be sitting," and he tells him, "I want volume." He said, "I am not gonna prescribe you no drugs." He said, "Listen, I think he had anxiety, some he had," and he said, "So he be in a certain space and his heart be racing hard or some stuff," and he said, "Oh, really? Yeah," and he said, "Okay, I'll prescribe you some medication," And
Mhm.
you know how I am with most people taking medication, just a pill just to solve a problem. I mean, I'm not really for it. Sometimes against certain things because now you don't want to be dependent on certain chemicals just to function. You know, if you can,
Mhm.
because now cause like I said, we live in a billion-dollar industry with pharmaceuticals and stuff. And if everybody think it's easy to solve your problems with a pill, you think they will not be pushing more pills to you to damage you mentally, your brain and stuff?
Well, okay, so you know, even if you are taking medications, there is still going to be some type of work that you have to do yourself. The best outcomes have been found to combined therapy along with medication, not just medication alone.
Oh, okay. Okay. Makes
There
sense.
are some prescribers who will not prescribe you medication unless you're in a program or seeing a provider. There are some who will. Okay, so it just depends.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. All right. Now for the adults, and in regards to men, because we already talked about the children. For the men, what you normally will come across, what the normal issue that a man, let's say, comes to your consultation, rather, Viva video conference or a sit down. What's the thing that you find the underlying thing that with especially with male clients that is common that they always come across when
Okay, well, so now I don't have the statistics for the field overall, but in my practice, what I've come in contact was either anger management or work stress.
okay, okay. So anger and something dealing with work stress. Okay. Now with anger go many ways. Is it something that he's angry in, like if the man, let's say, is in a relationship, in a marriage, or just angry certain things that his shortcomings or his outcomes that he's already going through in his own life?
A little bit of everything because, okay, so anger is a necessary emotion. It exists for a reason. That's what facilitates change. You also, there's a reason why we feel anger. Your emotions are valid. They come from somewhere. They don't just materialize out of thin air. So the problem isn't feeling the anger. The problem is feeling the anger either in excess in terms of frequency or intensity. The response, your actions, the way you express your anger, what you do when you're angry, those are the things that are problematic. So a lot of people may feel anger internally, but what most likely will get them to come into services is if they've lost some opportunity because of their expression of their anger.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. I think with most men, in my opinion, the anger is usually living in, let's say, a Western world system that mostly we don't really control. I think that caused some of the
Hmm.
frustration with certain black men. I would say all black
Yeah.
men, but every black man is different. But mostly from the norm is usually frustration of things that either they feel they are worth something or they feel they've been cheated on in their worth. But overall, there's some frustrations that lead to this anger that they're not getting what I guess what most people think is well deserved, and I get it. I think one of the few things why black men eat, and I remember old man was talking about why they don't go to therapy, and it's beyond the other female therapists, which we're going to talk about shortly, is
Hmm.
that there's no one that's here that can really a black man could turn to respectfully that not only them is okay, but really is going to give a lending hand, in my opinion. And I know with black men, we must understand we are all alone, and it's all we got. But because we're so content in regards to really seeking and really finding proper men, mostly some in our group, mostly, that we're not really seeking to handle and deal with the situations we have. And it goes beyond systematic, just the things as
Mhm.
brothers know we could fall and reach under for simple problems. And not every time most men are going to seek in regards to women for a sense of solving certain problems on average. And in my opinion, with the modern man today, depending how he's been raised and stuff, that, and this is me now, that they're always going to turn to, unfortunately, maybe a female therapist, and mostly there's a lot more of them in the field than men anyway, to really
Yeah.
resolve their problems. And personally, some men, rather they're scared of therapy or they think they don't need it, they feel their problems not being resolved, with a woman on the average, on the
Right.
norm. You get me? So,
Right.
regardless of the history of how black men has been treated under the field of clinical psychiatry or any other field of medical practice, that has not been favored nicely, because they feel like
Mhm.
most black people, we are meant and designed to take abuse and pain, and that's just goddamn wrong, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But they do this because it is another form of control and hope that you might, depending on how much the pain they apply, enough that you're going to create something out of nothing. So they're ready, willing with their hands clapping and rubbing, so they can reap the greater reward. And this is what I've concluded, because you're
Mhm.
forming some form of diamond with your frustration and stress. And if you can't create that diamond, you will, in doubt, will self implode on yourself, and you're going to take your implosion to others around you.
Okay, so chaos, there is an actual word to describe the stress that makes you better. It's called eustress. It's the I think it's a Latin prefix. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that part, but it's a prefix that means good. So if some people work better under pressure. Some people need a fire lit under them, and that's how they thrive. That's what makes them focus. That's their motivation, right? That is very possible, but that is very different than the distress, the stress that's not helpful, the stress that's not fun to feel. So it depends on which one of these stresses they are feeling. That's going to determine what happens and how the services are addressed.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Like I said, guys, y'all guys could possibly raise your hand if you have a question. This is an important conversation. The call number again is 717-908-1834. Access code 917-324 #. I repeat, 717-908-1834. Access code 917-324 #. Today's subject, Chaos Rain presents, can female therapists heal men? With special guest Topaz, Grand Nubian. You know what I'm saying? We want that sharp stone, that hard stone, you know what I'm saying? Make the thing hard, you know what I'm saying? But anyway. Um um One thing that kind of took the internet from storm is one they call Sharia Ross. A 27, roughly 28-year-old, I think she has a master's degree in her field in
Well, for her
therapy.
to be licensed, yeah, she has to have at least a master's.
In her field, and some she's been doing this for maybe 5 or 6 years at best. Maybe I'm just throwing numbers. How long she's been in the practice, but she's been in it for a while. As you know, her clientele is roughly 95% male clients, and mostly, and I think she's from Ohio. She resides in Ohio, so obviously she's going to
Yeah, in
deal with.
Cleveland, yes.
So I mean, she's dealing with an audience with predominantly mostly black men on the average. From her rhetoric and her, I guess, her frustrations, she says she deals with these men and feels these men are emotionally unattached. And I think the most biggest issues, I guess, from her perspective, is these dudes coming to her with female problems, relationship problems, or something. Don't quote me wrong, but this is what I can recall. I'm not gonna go back and play her audio. And for her, for what she does in her field in Cleveland, and when she goes back to social media, that she has a plethora of content on TikTok, especially that she's up there, you know, I guess telling black men specifically the raw deal of what's on her mind, and using very vulgar language, which we all are no accustomed to because we love it. We love the fuckery, as you know it, Topaz. But she does a little twist to it, you know what I'm saying? She does it like, she has no, wearing no brassiere, and she likes to shake it and waggle and and get the men's attention. And mind you, it looks cute at times, She's going to get some men to, give her the pipe, which, I don't be surprised. But she's up here and says she's doing a good faith and hoping to get the black man's head right by, doing like nice little shimmy shake and all that stuff. And tell him, say that, you need to do this for your bitches, and all that stuff. But, I get it, But when I think that she has a profession and she has a degree, it makes me think that, isn't there a form of integrity? Because here's my thing, Topaz. They said Mr. Samuels was been doing this for the last almost 2 years before he transitioned back in May. But they forgot to say he is not a psychiatrist. He's not in the clinical field of therapy. He tells black people, men, and especially women, his women audience, they should go seek therapy. And he always recommended, always constantly, every stream. And you might not know that because you don't watch his content. But he always recommends.
No, but when people post the highlights, I see that he is telling people to get therapy. The only problem I had with it was I don't want people to be told to go get therapy as some sort of insult or in a condescending manner.
I agree. Okay.
That's actually counterproductive. It doesn't help.
Okay, I agree with that. I got no argument with that. Fine. But it's funny that people would compare Mr. Samuels to Sheree Ross. That she's doing what Kevin did. I said, well, not really, because Kevin is an image consultant and he's not in the field of therapy. Which I think in her field there are certain regulations that she's supposed to uphold. Last time I checked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to go in detail and explain.
Well, okay, so you mentioned the shimmying, and it did get men's attention and everything, right? But see, as a practicing therapist, you don't want to attract people to your practice because they think you're attractive. You want to attract people to your practice because they feel like you're knowledgeable and you have the training and skills and expertise to be able to guide them through to whatever the end goal is that they choose. So if I don't know if any men signed up to see her as a therapist because they thought she was attractive, but that is one of the cardinal sins in the psychology field that is absolutely enumerated and specified, that you should not have any romantic relationships with your clients. So if men are signing up because they find her attractive, she's not going to be able to help them through anything, and it is improper. It lends itself to the appearance of impropriety, and it also sets the stage for you being accused of something. So it's just not a good look if that's how you're bringing people to your services. That means people aren't coming in there because they want help and therapeutic responses. So therapy has to be something that the person themselves asks for, within reason, if they are of sound mind and body, right? Outpatient therapy, that what she was doing, that is voluntary. Okay, and if they're coming there for any reason other than they have recovery goals they want to achieve and want your guidance and assistance with that, it's just a setup for failure. No good would come from that.
Oh, I see. From my knowledge, I heard from her mouth that she almost contemplated suicide herself. And I know that people that sit down and do therapy with other people, but therapists get it just as rough. And their job is not that easy, especially some after a while. And I'm not sure if you experienced yourself, Topaz, that if you've been doing this for weeks, maybe months, consistently for more than a year or two, isn't there certain rules that say that most people that's in the field as licensed, you should be, going under your own therapist by another therapist after a while doing this?
It's not a rule or a requirement. It's a suggestion. A lot of times before you even get your degree, some undergrad and some graduate programs have you to sign up to go through the process of therapy, so you know what it is that your clients are going to be experiencing. Also, it helps you to learn what your triggers are so you can be aware of that as you practice. Now, once you find out your triggers, now you have a responsibility to be able to refer out clients that you cannot effectively and objectively assist. Okay, so knowing your triggers is not enough. Being able to understand what you can't handle day to day. Secondly, if you just so happen to have a very stressful caseload, it is your responsibility to lead by example. If we teach our clients to have coping skills and to have an active role in their decision making on how they respond to things, if we try to foster hope for their future and helping them to gain insight into what their problems are, then you have to do that too. So if you have a stressful caseload, you need to have some coping skills. There is a such thing as secondary trauma, where you're being traumatized by hearing traumatic stories all of the time. Okay? There's burnout. These are all things that can be mitigated up front. So you have a duty to be self-aware yourself, to pay attention to how the job is affecting you, and to do something when you notice that you're not in the right headspace. Yeah, you are required to do something about that.
And it is everybody's duty that's in the field. They should be taking a point to make sure you get their own clean mental bill of health. So like I said, if she was going through those type of problems she was going through, I said, sweetie, Miss Ross, or whatever your name is, that like to shake the booty, that you need to take a step back, because we dealing with a lot of men that you consider toxic and some say they need. And what's the thing about men should reach their emotional something? Can you explain that? Because one of the things I find that she said that I told you that this is what this article, when I look at Psychological Today, the article that people have been circulating for last month, this is my thing, Topaz. And I'm always pay attention to detail besides reading and writing of it. When I open any page of any article that people are circulating, the first thing that I do, I'm going to give you some game. Listen to your listen to the black king, the black man. Listen good, sweetie. When you open a page of any psychological article, make sure you got no image, or what we call graving image of what they're talking about that's presented the title of the article. You see? And I'm gonna explain. If you write an article talking about men, I should not be seeing image of non-black men or any racial men at all on the cover. Period. Let me explain why. Because you're trying to claim that this involves all demographic of men in, I think, America. Me as a man, and a lot of people think I'm fronting and something, must be something wrong, or I'm joking. That's how I look at things. Me as a man, if you're talking about your acquaintance to not only non-black men but black men, I should not be seeing no image of no men. If you can put any image, it should be two racial men. The first thing I saw when I click onto the page, I see a Caucasian man with his so-called, it looked like he an incel, for lack of better terms. I can be wrong. When he makes that face, some people can say, this is interesting. Is this the argument that people talk about? So right there, that was a strike, number one. Now, I could have gone into and read the details of it, but when I saw that, right there, I said, I see what's going on. They're not really talking about this black man on the average. Unless they're giving data. Because have you read the article?
So,
did they break down
I have not.
racial? Okay.
I have not read the article because by the time I even knew about the article, I felt like it was a whole lot of media and drama surrounding it. So at this point, I just would rather not. So that's part of my self-care. I don't want to get, brought into the online beef that it was helping to happen on social media. So no, I did not read the article, but what I will say is from what with the people that I know that have read it, they have said that he was like she took the stat out of context. But here's the thing about
Ah,
psychological research, right? There are always going to be some variables that were not controlled in this study, and they list that at the end. I do feel like she didn't read the entire article. I feel like she read the headline and just ran with it. So, because from what I'm getting is he was discussing the fact it wasn't because men don't know how to talk or identify their emotions. It was like the adjustment in society. This is the way things are going, and more people are lonely these days.
I see.
I think it
I
was more
see.
like an observation of our evolution. It wasn't to blame anybody.
Hmm. That's very interesting. Um, I would agree with you on that. Because from what I'm getting out of this, and what Miss Ross is trying to do, this is what I take out of it. She follows the so-called black manosphere or manosphere in general, and think that she puts that article in regards to them. And really, truly, let's be honest, a lot of them really, when they go for the article, they always still reference the one Kevin Samuels, which he was gone for months now, in regards to that article, and they think it was a hit piece by one particular content creator, which y'all might know who I'm talking about, or not, look it up. And I'm thinking that could play a big part, a lot of things, but let's be honest. When when they write these articles, is to give a more deeper context to the manipulation of the environment and the society we're in today, to show saying, look what the environment is doing. It's potentially creating either by choice or some men that either choose to be lonely or not. That men today, even today, are not going to put up, in my opinion, certain bullshits of society.
Well,
In my
you know
opinion.
what else, Chaos, is because the way society is developing right now with so much reliance on technology, a lot of the events and places and even skills needed that helped people in the past to get together, those are things that are being put in jeopardy right now. Think about when you were
Okay.
younger, where did you go to meet people that you were interested in dating? Some social event. You were outside, you could see them right then, you could get a feel for the first impression that they leave you with. But now the way society is developing, it's, less and less practical to be more outside and to be more interactive with one another. There are a lot of things that accidentally incentivize people staying inside, separating from one another, isolating, things like that. So, honestly, I think it could also have been a warning. Like, if we keep going in the direction that we're going, that it's going to be less and less connections between individuals.
Well, I'm going to give you another deep secret. And I know you don't check my content. I cover this in regards to social media disease. And there was a man named
Mhm.
Sam Backman. He talks about the norms of how we are moving now because of the impact of what I call um, socialization. How people are
Mhm.
being less socialized and being operate as like move like drones in a way where they're being very antisocial with the advent of and the creation of the first innovation of social media. Viva Wikipedia, text messaging and stuff. Then we have social sites like Black Planet, MySpace, then Facebook 4 years later in 2004, right? That with
Mhm.
these type of innovations, people are being less sociable, especially if you fall under a millennial, like a few of us are. You know, what I'm saying, oh, what's this? Okay, people like us, that we
Yeah.
are a generation that are the beginning stage of what we call being digitized. Besides Gen Zs and stuff that are more digitized, but we are the first wave of it. Because when we were in our 20s, back in the 2000s, right?
Mhm.
Um, we were the first, not guinea pigs, but we were the first wave of interacting with technology a little bit more. You know, and
Mhm.
text. 'Cause remember, people don't understand. First few texts back then was like the beepers. But it was not like
Yeah.
popular. Everybody like got a beeper, because beepers were expensive, if you think about it. But when the cell phones became more computerized, like, the BlackBerry especially, they had text. Certain cell phones had text. I think in the 2000s, I think. Early 2000s, I think. Late 90s, early
Yeah.
2000s. And then eventually, before the advent of the iPhone, which is really a computerized phone, really, with a touchscreen, it became more and more digitized. So as time progressed during the 2000s, more and more people are not being sociable. They're already in the advent stage of being less sociable. Once the end of the 20th century came, going the first 21st century. And now, as you see, now 20 years later, over 20 years later, we look at a society now that they do research and study that men are being less sociable. They're not being in touch with their feelings, to, cage women's feelings. And I always think in my mind, wherever since in existence, since we've been around, that men ever got in touch with a woman's feelings? That's the question we should be asking, especially when it comes to relationships.
I don't think men got in touch with women's feelings overall as a collective. I believe that there are men who got in touch with the feelings of the women in their lives, though. I don't think – see, that's another problem I had with the comments that were made is I don't think men have been as emotionally cold, as they were being portrayed. Also, we have to understand that in the past there wasn't time for feelings. There wasn't, it wasn't like you couldn't focus on feelings. You had to, make things happen no matter how you felt about it because there were real consequences if you didn't. So now, with our lives being made much easier, more convenient, now, we got to understand that men were socialized and taught to do something else. So it's going to take them some time to be able to be as expressive as women. Men do have feelings. They show these feelings, but it's usually not as verbal. There's some action that they do. So, knowing the words for your emotional states doesn't help as much as having appropriate expression of those emotions. Do you get your point across? Do you express what it is that you need to feel better about this emotion? That's what's more important.
Okay. I get you. Yeah, that was the most biggest plight in regards why they wrote that article, saying they hope that if men doesn't do this, you're going to be alone. You're going to die alone or whatever. And I think I said, men have always died alone, last time I checked. If a man doesn't do what he needs to do, what is the end result? Either he's going to be in jail or buried or hell, he might not get no pussy. It is what it is. Not everybody's going to meant to possibly, copulate or get sex, especially in this era, which they said sex is now so lucrative now and free. I said, okay, we can have that. But literally, now, let's be honest. The dudes that you hear they talk online, and this personally, Topaz, it's like a lot of these dudes are very frustrated they're not getting the sex. Either they want or they're barely getting sex at all from their rhetoric. It's just me. That's one thing I noticed. I could be wrong. What's your take on it?
Well, some people actually say that that's part of the reason, and then others, they don't. But here again, whether they're able to have sex, whether they're able to have romantic partners and interest and attention from the opposite gender or whatever gender that they're attracted to, whether they're able to get that isn't the biggest concern. The biggest concern is how well do you handle when you might be experiencing a drought or something, So, for instance, if you are not a person that gets a lot of chances at if you're not a man that gets a lot of chances at romantic relationships, that's less imperative, than what you do about it. If you can't find anything else to be happy or grateful for, you're going to be miserable and you're going to make the people around you miserable. But if you can find something to foster hope, maybe you can work on a passion, something that you have always wanted to learn how to do or something you always wanted to put in motion. Maybe that's something that can give you a reason to get out of bed. So the problem with people who are upset about the interactions between men and women these days, the biggest problem is the fact that it is something that they can't seem to be able to make up for in any other area in their life.
Now you say about hobbies. How important is it for a man if he does have hobbies to really seek something that he likes to really occupy any stress he has as a suggestion?
Right. Well, it's an extremely important thing. You know, once your basic needs are taken care of, then we get to the higher order level of needs, like a sense of belonging, self-esteem, something that gives you a positive sense, of yourself. So, yeah, the hobbies are designed to use your leisure time as in doing some activity that can be beneficial to you. It can help elevate your mood if need be. It can help express energy if need be. So, yeah, I think it's important for everybody to have hobbies because it's kind of a part of self-care.
Mm, okay, okay, okay. Excellent. All right. Hey, you said you have two sons, right?
No, I have a daughter and a son.
Okay. Have they ever one time, because they know you're in this field, have they ever tried to say, Mom, either advise or say, Mom, I might need something, and I need a therapist's opinion? Have they ever come to you in regards to anything that they're going through?
Well, they come to me, but they come to me as a mom. They have not expressed the interest in receiving therapeutic services.
Okay. Okay. I think that's a good thing, don't you think, Topaz? Because if anything, because you did the best you can. I mean, they're adults now, I think. That's my check. So, if anything they go through, I mean, they have someone to turn to. I mean, it won't hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I do, like, sometimes when my kids are upset, I can kind of help them put into words what it is they're feeling and what might make them feel better. So I do little small therapeutic things like that. So I like to think it's a good thing that they haven't had the need to request therapy services. I would hope that means that they haven't needed it, and that if they did feel like that's something they might benefit from, that they would feel comfortable letting me know. I
Okay.
can't. I couldn't be their therapist anyway.
Why
That's a dual
so? Why so?
relationship. So it's a
Because
dual relationship, and it's against our ethics codes. So when you have a dual relationship with a client, there is the potential to exploit the power differential.
Oh,
It's
wow.
just also is not very helpful therapeutic, because the point of therapy is to work with the client feeling comfortable enough to open up to you, to talk to you about what they feel is relevant. As a parent, if I was seeing my own children in sessions, I would know more than what they chose to reveal to me. Also, I'm too close, so I would be emotionally invested in what it is that they're telling me they experienced. So all of that has the potential for clouded judgment. So it is, even whether I felt like I could get through that or not, it is against the ethics, and it's not supposed to happen.
All right. Makes sense. Makes sense. Wow, I did not know that. Okay. All right. Well, so there is a deep ethical code in regards to clinical psychiatry and
Yeah,
therapy. All right. Yeah, it goes
yeah.
very deep. It goes very deep. Yeah. And I don't think Cherie Ross. She don't got no kids. I mean, I heard rumors she does. I know. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. This woman, but if she does, I mean, yeah. Um, but I think because she lost her job, and mind you, Topaz, it was a black woman that outed her by writing an article,
Yeah.
and she finding that it was a hit piece attacking her character, her profession, what she's doing. And I'm thinking, well, let's be honest. If you're saying you're in this field and you go behind social media and you're doing something uncharacteristic, you think somebody's going to keep their mouth shut and not even look into or say something about you, especially if you have 50, 100K followers on that platform, which now last month she probably has over 300 now. So you're influenced now. So once you go past 50K followers on any platform, you, in my opinion, are now actually in the stage of an influencer. You know,
Yeah.
and sh-
Well,
and she,
so
yeah.
let me also answer this. Yes, I did hear that it was a black woman, and I believe they said that this black woman who put out her information was a therapist. If that's true, she can't do that either. Okay, so if she's a therapist, she can't put out somebody's information with the hopes of empowering other people, setting a plan in motion to get somebody to experience some unpleasant event. You know, that's kind of the problem. What they look for in a therapist is to see if you have a negative view, a bias towards the people that you are treating. So if she outed somebody, she's not supposed to do that either. If she had a real concern, she was supposed to report it to the board and let them be the ones to talk to her about the reprimands or the responses or what have you. But she was supposed to be reprimanded, and I know there are a lot of people saying that she didn't deserve this type of treatment, and that they're sorry that she lost her job. Well, the person who cost her job is her. You are bringing bad press to the company that you work for. I don't know about other people, but whenever I get hired, they do have a clause in there that tells you that your social media activity cannot bring the company you work for in a bad light. So if she had done something, yeah. So if they didn't fire her, like, they didn't cost her license. They just said you can't work for this company anymore. And the board probably wouldn't take her license. She might have to, like some type of reprimand thing that she has to do. But it's not a take your license type of offense. It's something that is looked at as you can be retrained. So, yes, she was supposed to be reported. The shareholders for the company that she worked for didn't like the negative press, okay? If you go viral while you're working at a company, that does have an impact for your company. If you go viral, even if you don't have a license, that has an impact for your close loved ones. Okay? These things, that's the point about technology. These things don't exist in a vacuum. You put it out there on the World Wide Web. Even if you didn't go viral today, you could have went viral later on in your life, and this was dug up. And I feel like, has she not been, caught and reprimanded and had some type of consequence right now, she might have continued to make these same types of videos. So it's better that she learns this now and get through it, so that as she practices and she goes forward and she does reach more success, that she doesn't jeopardize her career in the future.
All right. My opinion is I think it was well deserved. Her ass got fired personally. And how I think is that it should be less to any woman, and we could say a man, but we all know men that's very small percent in the field anyway are not gonna damn sure put their little careers or anything they do at risk, especially in regards to social media. Just to get some likes and views. See, I think in this world we live in, Topaz, that men understand consequence for every action. If it was a black therapist that did the opposite of what Sheree Ross did, in regards, he has a 9% female client base, and he goes on social media and say, and be spilling like serious man spirit talking points, like said this woman, her hair was so fucking bad, too nappy, that I wish she would have take that dusty thing off her head, or saying that, listen. She's talking about she had 5 or 6 baby dads and 5, 6 kids. And I say, who told you to breed and have so many kids? I wish she went and got her things too tied. If a dude was doing the opposite of what Sheree was, it wouldn't take that much for him to get fired. Immediately he would have got fired, But because it took another person, let's say she was in the field and it was unethical, it took a lot for somebody to get wind of this and eventually had to make a conscious decision to get her job terminated. So it tells you that there is a safety net between the sex.
No, her job wasn't terminated because somebody called her job. Her job was terminated because the company didn't appreciate the actions that she did. Okay. Second of all, if a man made these comments about a clientele of predominantly black women, he would also be reprimanded, and he wouldn't lose his license either. So the issue isn't, in terms of what happened here, any therapist, any licensed therapist, that is making comments that assume a bias against a group of people, one, that goes against our training. Okay, we're supposed to be able to respect differences in one another. So if you already have a bias toward a certain group because of your own personal preferences, that doesn't bode well for the career. So anybody, man, woman, black, white, human, non-human, that was in her predicament would have gotten the same thing. Now, people like women might have been upset if he didn't get his license terminated, but the answer would still be the same. It's not a lose your license offense. It's a retraining remediation offense. And she did have to make a genuine apology. That's the only way anybody in the field is going to understand that she now knows what she did was wrong, and it lessens the likelihood of her doing it again. Now, and also, let me just say this last thing. So what happens as a therapist, right? The reason why it's a suggestion for you to go see therapists is so that you don't get trapped into this small world of your own clientele and caseload. Then you don't overgeneralize that to everybody else in the community. That's why. It's to keep you grounded. Okay? What happens is if you see a lot of a certain type of presenting problem, if you see a lot of a certain type of diagnosis, you begin to think. And the way that our brains work, this is everyone's brain. If you see it a whole lot, you are more inclined to believe that the problem is more prevalent. You think about that first before you think about, well, let me change scenery and see if it's like this somewhere else. So the problem is, if she's seeing a lot of men, for whatever reason, who are coming into her office saying that they don't know how to express themselves, then there's a tendency for her to feel like this is a widespread problem. But for me, I don't have a clientele of men who can't express themselves. I have a clientele of men who need to practice effective expression of anger. When you're angry, to dispel that energy, are you doing something that's going to be helpful to get whatever it is you want changed, or are you going to be doing something that might cause you more problems? So I could say that, oh yeah, well, all men have an anger problem, but I would be inaccurate. I would be saying statistics that have no research backing, okay? And that's just not a good attitude to have when you're saying that you're an expert in a certain field.
All right, well said, Topaz. How I look at it, as men and women, and how this side treats us, I'm still wholly believing. No, I know that it's two different ways treat regards, the actions of what men take in certain professions, the action women. But like I said, if there's a code of ethics, they have to follow the books and follow the rules all across the board to a degree. And let's be honest, as Black people, we don't have our own professions enough. Where either if we open our own professions, still we should have some form of decorum and order. That because let's say she had her own profession, now she's free to people gonna come to her and she had to talk and not talk about be able to be going to no one. I'm saying in regards to her money, how she make her money in regards to a third party. She's so proprietary of her own practice. That
Well, that's not necessarily true, Chaos. Okay, so here's how that works. If she owned her own practice, right? Mm-hmm. She worked for herself. There was nobody you could tell on her to. Whoever doxed her obviously felt like she needed to have a wake-up call, right? So if they couldn't do it to her job, they probably would have called the board, okay? Also, even if nothing happened from the board, then what could also happen is people could boycott your business. So there is still recourse when somebody is doing something that is very negative and hurtful to another group of people. It's not just that if she had her own business, she can do whatever she wants. The thing that she got fired for is, now, has she been doing this? Has she been teaching men this and saying this to men in session one-on-one? She would still have a job right now because nobody would know unless that client decided to make a report, okay? The problem that happened is because she did this on social media where everybody gets to have an opinion. Everybody gets to feel like they know what should happen for her next after saying that. And when you make triggering statements, a person can't accept the help that you're giving them if you're triggering them while you're giving it to them. Their first instinct is going to be to fight back first, and then maybe later on they might go somewhere and sit down and think about what you said. Okay? If her message was to get men to feel like it's okay to have emotions, that you don't have to bottle things up on your own, yelling at them does not achieve that. Okay, so the point is, do you want the results of them coming into the office and getting services, whether it's with you or another provider, or do you want to be right about your ability to yell at people? You got to pick one. Okay, so in summary, just if she worked for herself, then there would have been other ways that she would have lost income because of this.
Interesting. Okay. I'll take your word for it, Topaz. Well, we lay out all, and I think I asked the questions about, the importance and is it really necessary, does it really heal men? The call number for people that want to ask Topaz question now, call in now, or forever hold your peace, people. The call number is 717-908-1834. Access code 917-324#. Today's subject, Chaos Reign presents. Can female therapists heal men? And I mean healing in a good way. I don't mean healing in your ways where you want to release. No, that's not that type of healing. We're talking about the mental healing. You know what I'm saying? We know the top of your head and not the lower part of your body. We we focus on the head first, gentlemen. Get your mind out the gutter. You know what I'm saying? I always hear when dudes say, "Oh, sure, I need some healing." What do you mean? Yeah, you need healing head. No, that's what I'm talking about. It's not that part.
Wait a minute, where are you at, Chaos, to be having these conversations? Where are you at with these responses that you be getting? Well, and you know what else, Chaos? So let me go ahead and answer the title question, right? Okay, so can a female therapist heal a man, right? Well, technically, the client is doing the work to heal themselves. We guide them along the path, and they determine what healing looks like for them. So no therapist is healing anybody. What we are is supporting, guiding, reinforcing, educating, and then the client puts in the work outside of the session. Because, most therapists, you only see them for an hour a week anyway. So after you get feedback, after you get recommendations, homework assigned, you go, you practice it, and then you figure out if this is something that can solve the problem you came in for or not. So the short answer is no, but neither can male therapists. The client heals themselves with the assistance of a therapist. And a female therapist does have training and the same research, okay? However, when clients get to have a preference, there's client choice involved in who you see for services, especially behavioral health services. So they may not feel like she can relate. For some people, their preference is a therapist who can relate to a situation that they've gone through. So for some men, they will only see male therapists because they want their therapist to have, the experience, the life experience of living as a man the same way they do. A female therapist for some men could never do that because they have lived 0 days as a man. So if that's a preference for the client, they would choose a male therapist. If it's not necessarily one of their preferences, then the female therapist can give the same education, the same feedback, the same responses.
Okay. All right, good. And one thing I want to do, because now we're going to shift gears here, and let me hit this button right here.
The recording has started.
Yeah, I didn't do that. But don't worry. Y'all guys know the playback when I put it on YouTube. As you know, have you watched the take? And we're going to go off topic a little bit for the last maybe 10, 15 minutes of this show, maybe less. Oh, the Omar Johnson and the one Cynthia G debacle. Have you caught it? Have you able to watch it and listen to the whole thing?
Yes,
okay.
I have watched it.
Okay. Now, from your take, Topaz, Miss G says she's in the field of psychology. How true or false this is? Because Omar said that he has a doctorate in it, which is proven evident and validated. She says she's in it as well. But what I'm hearing right now, and a lot of people were so crazy to say that, the good Dr. Omar Johnson he's not certified, much as has a PhD in his field. I'm not sure where people are still talking that nonsense or getting this information. They say they got this from this so-called weirdo that's in the LGBT, Mr. I forgot what his name is, but he's been constantly doing content on Mr. Omar Johnson for years now, and has made a nice living off it, but really does not really know the man from front to center. Because I've been watching Dr. Omar for over 10 years, and I think it was the earliest stage before Hidden Colors. I've been watching his brother as activities around maybe 12 years now, maybe. And I've been following his progression over the years, and I've seen pictures of him getting his doctorate degree back in 2012, 10 years ago now. So I'm trying to understand, does this woman really have this degree or accolades that she's supposed to be talking about her analysis and stuff because she's a psychologist and creating this so-called thing about male pathology? How about it, sir?
Okay, so I am familiar with Sinji's content, and so as a practicing clinician, she would not be able to say some of the things that she says, right? Mm-hmm. So now, with that being said, I do want to say that I don't know. I can't tell you if she has a degree or a license to practice, but what I can tell you is you need both to actually have a practice. Once you get at least a master's degree, right, a master's degree or higher, you now have to sit for a board-certified test, okay? And then that's when you have the license to practice. And then there's all kind of upkeep that you have to do in your renewal cycles. So I don't have that information, but to find out therapists near you and also to validate someone's license, you could do a search. So for the state of Texas, we have a search that we can do on the website that the regulatory board for therapists, and that I'm guessing every state has its own website because it keeps a roster of who's actually licensed, and you have to be able to give the public some way to validate whether this person has an actual license or not. So I've never searched it. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you personally, there's a lot of gurus on YouTube, and she's an influencer. So she could say what the hell she want, and people are going to listen and follow because people don't do backgrounds on a lot of content creators, from what I'm learning. Especially if they have a very good, strong following, and they pose and talk about pathologies of certain groups of men, you know? And we all know it's all for make money, okay? But really, truly, you're not in no space or any authority to talk about pathology of men. You're not even at the higher ups in regards to even as high as doctoring in your field to be putting out content you do. But like I said, you could do that because, and I think personally, I think she's an H&R Block person before she became doing YouTube more full time. And the funny thing about it is that men actually built this woman up. You think about it. Boyce Watkins, Phil Weiss, and I forgot about these two gentlemen. And I'm picking and saying, how do you speak about what a man's doing and accomplishments, and your life is not even full of any accomplishments yourself? You get me? And I think that whole panel, Topaz, is a shit show. I got so angry and mad. Now that when I watched the second time, and knowing saying they have, and let me see, do I got that soundbite? Hold on. Let me find the fucking soundbite, because I like to run these things because it's more of a lesson to it. Let me see. I'm gonna find it right now. Yes, I'm gonna know what I'm talking about. Where is it? Here it is. This is why I look at this individual that was on that panel. Listen good. Transformers. Did you get that?
Yeah, Chaos. I get it.
Oh, you did not get that. I have to run this one time.
No, I get where you go, but oh, really? Okay, so
listen. We have them on here, and this is the black community, black people on Fox Soul. It's a shit show. It's a circus. To the point that Dr. Omar did not know he was talking to that thing.
Oh, okay. So listen, I am a licensed clinician. I do not I think that everybody needs to live their best life. Okay, so my point is, would it have made a difference?
To me, it
First
does.
of all,
But
Fox
continue.
Soul can't send out like an e-blast to anybody that possibly wants to come on their show and say, hey, by the way, we're going to have someone from the alternative community on the show. You know, you cannot discriminate like that, especially not in media. Okay, so they weren't going to be able to tell him beforehand, but would it made a difference how he responded to what he focused on in the panel? And if it would have, then that's exactly why they didn't tell him.
I have to kindly disagree, and here's why. See, they could do that because black people don't run that YouTube channel or that institution we call Fox that's run by non-black people. They could do that. See, if we run our own stuff and operate our own stuff, that's a different situation. But we under somebody else. So obviously, when they put in the word soul, what it does, Topaz, it draws attraction. Oh, this is all everything inclined to black people. So when black people tune into this circus, they say, well, damn, what the hell we have here? Especially on a topic when they talk about, what was they talking about? About black men, where the whole focus on black men. Why the fuck I see only 2 women and 3 men actually on there to discuss the plight of black men? It should be an all man panel. And this is one thing I agree with Amiri Brown. And I had to sit back and really contemplate and say, damn, this should be only all men panel and black men have it and have the conversation and have a dialogue back and forth respectfully. But lo and behold, there's no conversation when it involves black men where you see black women right there front center and sitting there not only front and center but question certain people's credentials. And it says the plight of the black man as black man as a whole, from what I'm getting at. But go ahead, give your statement. Give your response.
Well, so what I was going to say was, here's the thing. I don't think it should have made a difference if they told him that he was speaking to somebody who was practicing an alternative lifestyle. Because if you have the information that supports your because I was told the question was, is there a war on black men? So if you have the information that supports your position, then it won't matter who you're talking to. Whoever it is, if you have a good point, if they're reasonable, if, you know, you guys are talking, you know, if y'all are having an actual back and forth conversation, you'll either convince them, give them something to think about, or agree to disagree. Now, I can say, you know, black men are not wrong for not wanting other people to speak on their predicament. I get you. But there's no way to stop them from doing so. The problem is you may not want people to take their view over yours because you have a more in-depth view as living this every day. So there's nothing wrong with men feeling like it should have been an all-male panel. The concern is that this wasn't one of them. So now you guys have the opportunity to make an all-male panel.
Yeah, and I think that's where black men has to move forward and do. And a side note, the great and the good Dr. Omar was listening to one of the streams that I was part of with Amiri, I think last time, over the weekend and stuff. So that's a good sign, you know. But overall, you know, I think his first encounter with this lady, Miss the Bald Eagle, or he calls Sinji, personally, and he was not pleased, you know, and he wrote a memo about this woman pushes divestment and some dangerous rhetoric to the young black girls, which I agree to a degree. Some of the men that does content, you know, the Circummaster push the same weirdo rhetoric to impressionable men. I think the problem with this gender bang thing we're still doing today is I'm convinced black people have anything tangible to really say on the airwaves, in my opinion, today. And here's why. Because if they really want to make money, they have to really look at the source there. Talk about things that really makes that people should be focused on to make some money. Don't get attention, and the algorithm will hinder and make it hard for people to really see it. because it's doing something productive. And we all know how commercialization and things are sold. They're not sold by positive, they're sold by a need and dysfunction. That's how they make the bulk of their money. TikTok is a enemy to a lot of people that subscribe to that platform. That Chinese app that people mess with, right, personally, it is known and it's evident, right, that their algorithm is only designed for their society and designed different from ours. And they put the same degenerate nonsense in our feeds while they push positivity, training, support also on their side to their people. So that tells you that they need to keep you in a state of chaos, mentally, spiritually, so that way they can keep sucking your blood. That's what I'm come to conclusion, Topaz. You know. So what she's doing, the algorithm loves it, even to the point that when Dr. Omar asked one really good question, and I people got mad at him that he should ask it earlier, but I don't care what time he asked it nonetheless. Let's say, so you advocating that women should remove and abort black male fetuses, and you know she was so ecstatic and said, "Oh yes, I could sure definitely explain." And you see, bitch, Miss Mac, she stopped her right there because it's telling you, Topaz, that they know who they have on their platforms because they are enemies to black people and they continue the nonsense. They're not here to have doubt and constructive criticism or anything in building. They're here for controversy and likes and clicks and views because the network demands that they need attention and they need to use certain set of black people to draw their attention. That's why they have her ass up there, to cause dysfunction, real chaos. That's why I'm at with it. I don't know if you have anything to say about that. I don't know if Topaz's there, but Topaz, I don't know if you mute yourself. Hello. Hold on, people.
Oh, wait a minute. I was on mute. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think the bigger issue is that since media caters to what the masses want, that is what brings in, like you can't run a station without any revenue. So that's what brings in, the big bucks.
Yeah, no, and that's why it's gonna be a point now that because black people, we can use this media platform and we go have to start really take hold of the narrative. We can't keep funneling money to any media that's not our controlling. Especially black people is looking for those little jobs like those D-list actors at best, or those washed up authors, or those confused people that be on Fox. So we know why they're under, because this is your only form of revenue that people that subscribe to can make money off. I mean, because if they're standalone by themselves, they're not making crap by themselves. They're boring. They're lame. Personally. So it makes sense they sneer themselves on a platform like Fox, and they create what we call Fox Soul to say we're here for black people, black issues. No, you're not. You're here for degeneracy. That's it. So I look at Fox Show as a shit show. So I don't know if I told you this, Topaz, I can't cover Fox Soul anymore. I'm done with it. After watching not what happened to Dr. Omar, but in general what their platform really was, and I said, oh no, I can't support that shit. I can't do content. I'm giving them too much attention. They got my attention enough for me to even cover it, but I don't think moving forward I can't do no more content over there. It's stupid. I can't, because now I understand the name of the game. They did this just to get my eyeballs glued in. Dr. Omar, and I know Dr. Omar personally, I think he really want to have the conversation with Sympathy, but now that he has, I guarantee he's not going to have it again. Even to the point where she said, Dr. Omar, you can come to my platform, which she did a live stream after that, begging Dr. Omar to come to her platform. I said, for what? So you can run your little negative mouth, go, I don't fucking know. Hey, man, stay your ass over there and have those divestors or those fem cells over there your platform run their fucking mouths. You know what I'm saying? Let them sit there. Yeah.
But my view is this. So the public wants to see the confrontations. They want to see the back and forth. Okay. One, and why does that draw in the crowd, right? because the people in the audience are hoping that the people who are up there actually doing the confrontation will speak their points, the things that they would want to say if they were in the conversation. So that's one hope. The second thing is that they are wanting to see if whoever it is that they're following, if their talking points are going to stand up to being challenged. So she wanted Dr. Umar to come over there because, that is what her audience would have wanted to see as well. They want to see whether or not, he would have an answer, whether he can sufficiently convince them that, what he's saying is more valid. So, yeah, that would be something that would draw in a crowd. Both his audience and her audience will want to see, whether or not they could go up against the other one and their talking points will stand.
Well, I look at Dr. Omar's talk points more valid than her because all she does, and I'll be personally honest, there's nothing really you can grow and learn from what she's doing now because now it's consistent now, And I'll be honest with you, she was better off sticking to celebrities and talking the stupid nonsense because that's where the views and clicks are at anyway. But personally,
well, if she has a following, there are people that this rings true with. Now, whether it's accurate or not, that's not my discussion. What I'm saying is that everybody that's in her chat, all of her supporters and subs, to them, what she's saying is something that they wanted to hear being said. That's why they're supporting her. They want that message to get out further.
Yeah, and the end result, they're going to probably be alone with their animals, or they're going to be engaged in licky acts, and they're going to be eating another woman out. I mean, that's their fate. I mean, same for the man.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? Let me finish. Same for the man. If a man feels cold-hearted and there's no good woman and all this stuff and all this nonsense, there are two things. Either you sit there, die alone, like most men eventually die there, or you... Let me chill. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything good coming at the end of that sentence, Chaos. Okay? Now, but here's the thing. So you find Dr. Umar's talking points to be more valid, right? Well, there is something that he's saying that makes you hold that opinion. So it's the same thing. That's what her supporters believe as well.
I know. That's why I'm indifferent. And it's not I accept everything Dr. Umar said, because there's some things he said that is off the wall. I'll be honest with you. I can't remember some of them because, like I said, I don't follow the bird like I used to did. But at the end of the day, he still cares and respects black people as a whole. Unlike the other side, they only deal with one side and one gender. So I'm not into where, I focus on one gender because we need each other. Two halves gotta make a whole. If you one-sided, you get one-side results. But like I said, that's people's decision. And they're going to live with the consequence. Anyway. Okay, let me look at this, see if anybody raised their hand. Oh, looks like everybody's liking the conversation. Well, I think I said enough Topaz. This was a good conversation. Another one with Topaz Nubian, Grand Nubian. This is, I think, our fourth show now. 1, 2, 3. I think we did like 3 now. I could be wrong.
Maybe for some reason, I think this is number 3.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, third a charm. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, you get to the third part, it goes uphill, downhill. I don't care. All I know is it's good conversation. And like I tell people, I told y'all I was gonna have a profession on here, to have this conversation. I cover it in detail on my channel, but now with a profession like Topaz and a very seasoned profession, you and Mr. D. Durrell, because D. Durrell's in this field too. He's been doing it just as long. That these are two people in the field in the state of Texas where everything is big, doing big things, you know what I'm saying? Healing the minds and hearts of every man, woman, black man, and child, any chance they get, We're going to make healing and therapy sexy again, more proper, more where you don't have to be afraid and hide under your bed and tuck in your sheets and cover your pillow and having thoughts of how you're going to get through life and how you're going to get out of your frustration. No problems. Hit up Topaz Nubian on her, social media, wherever you want to find her. And she's easy to find. Same for D. Durrell. Gentlemen, if you're not comfortable with a woman therapist healing, go see my good friend Dipsy D. Durrell. He'll also help you too. You know what I'm saying? And they'll work with you with reasonable pricing, And listen, I tell black people, stop being cheap. Go get the money and give it to Topaz. Cash app her soon. So I said, Topaz, here, take this. I need some therapy. Campus consultation, and then Topaz will think about it. You know what I'm saying? She'll keep your money though, but she'll think about it. She
Wait,
won't get
okay,
back.
no, no, okay, I can't let that go. As a therapist, Chaos, thank you very much. Okay, if you pay for a service, you get the service. All right. Also, for anybody that is looking to get services, the website Psychology Today is a good place to start because you can search by zip code and you can enter in different type of preferences along with your insurance. Right now, insurance companies are covering mental health and or substance abuse benefits at the same rate as medical. So it's not as expensive as it used to be. Okay, there are also a lot of boutique agencies where if you don't have insurance, you could pay a monthly fee, kind of like a premium, to be able to have access to professionals that can provide services throughout that month. So these are things that, that can help you if you are looking to get into services. Okay, it's not. There's also a new mental health crisis 3-digit code 988 that you can dial from any phone in the United States. So if you feel like there's not, it doesn't have to be something wrong for you to go into therapy. Sometimes it could just be, a place where you can freely express yourself. It doesn't always have to be several sessions long. It's basically an independent treatment plan that you develop with your provider. Okay, you guys come together and decide what recovery looks like for you and how fast do you feel like you would be able to achieve those goals.
All right, that's what's up. All right, Topaz, thank you for coming through for today's discussion. Hey, we gotta do this again soon on a different subject on something that's very relevant, important that will help men and women in their mental health journey. We're gonna do this again soon, Topaz. And I'm hoping that because I know you got a community tab on your YouTube channel, I know you're not gonna invest too much time now because you have so much things. I'm hoping if you're gonna do the live stream again on your channel, you should always try to push one stream a month, if possible. That's probably the best thing you could do. I mean, that's a suggestion.
I'm looking at being more consistent at the top of the year because there's a lot of things in real life I'm trying to get off the ground, things that will be helpful to people who are looking for services. So I gotta finish taking care of this right now, and then at the top of the year I should be done, and I can be able to come back and bring more content. So I do have a YouTube page, but there hasn't been uploads in a while. It is dedicated to the mental health of the Black community, questions answered, topics discussed that relate to mental health. So, I do apologize for not uploading recent content, but I definitely am making plans to come back.
Excellent. All right, can't wait. Looking forward to it. All right, Topaz, we'll talk later. All right, get some rest.
Okay, thanks for having me, Chaos.
Yes, thank you. Take care.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
And for all that was listening to today's stream, I hope you liked today's stream. If you miss it, please catch a replay of Chaos Rain channel. And here's the links to follow me or where you know to find your boy Chaos Rain. You know what to do. Go to Chaos Rain on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that top notification bell. Do not hit middle. Do not hit lower. That's no good. You don't get enough from middle and lower. The party where it is at is on the top notification bell. That's where the uploads, that's where the live streams are at. You get notification when Chaos Rain goes live or uploads on the channel. Also, follow me on Twitter at Chaos Rain 7 and follow me on Facebook, Eric Rain with an E. Eric Rain on Facebook. And join the Discord service of the Chaos Rain Show. These are links to follow Chaos Rain. Thank you for listening to tonight's show. until next time, take care and good night.